think we have Bill Manning here. I'm very excited for this conversation. Just getting, some updates on the club itself. Now joined by Bill Manning himself, president of Toronto FC, as well as the Toronto Argonauts of the CFL. Bill, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be on the show.
Pleasure to have you. Wow.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, and massive congratulations from all of us on the new contract with Toronto FC and MLSE as well. What does that opportunity to lead the team mean to you, for the next half decade and build on what you've accomplished with the club so far?
It's really important to me, as I continue to try to have a successful run here in MLS. I was at RSL for a long time, and when I came here, Toronto FC, it wasn't looked at like it's looked at today. And, we were able to build a franchise that is, amongst the top franchises in MLS and North America. And now my goal is over the next 5 years, as we transition from kind of that championship group, can we continue to have sustained success? I remember when I actually worked in the NFL, the team president at the Eagles at the time was a guy named Joe Banner. And I remember him telling me they had gone to 4 conference championships in a row. And he's saying that the easy part's getting to the top, the hard part's staying there. And so, a goal for me now is to have sustained success while you go through transition, and how you replace players, and how you guys know I believe in continuity, how you keep a core group of players like we did at RSL, like we've done here at Toronto FC, sprinkle in new players. You're going to lose front office staff, as we've seen. There's going to be some turnover, assistant coaches like Robin Fraser will leave and so on. How do you replace them, and how do you continue to have success? For me, that's my motivation these next 5 years, is to have continued success with this franchise and continue to fill that trophy case. And I'm still chasing that CCL trophy. I've lost twice in the finals with 2 different teams, and for me, that's, if you ask me what one trophy I want to win, that's the trophy.
Nice.
We
That's
agree.
Music to our ears, Bill. Here at Wake and Nerd Weekly, we love talking about the young guns, Bill. And we've read the interest that has come through with Jaquil Marshall-Rudy. We've heard Chris Armas talk about it. We've heard Ali Curtis talk about it. How real is that interest with some of your young guns? And from where you first started back in 2015, are you receiving more phone calls nowadays than you were back then?
We are. The one thing I would say is don't believe all the rumors. Especially nowadays, agents have a way of putting things out there that maybe aren't real, but it's to actually generate interest in their players. And so we are very, conservative about promoting our young players and putting too much pressure on them. That does happen. There is a slew of players in MLS that were, the next Messis, and all of a sudden, a few years later, they're down the pecking order. So we want to manage these young careers appropriately. I think how Vancouver managed Alphonso Davies, where they had him play, a year to 2 up in the academy. Then they moved him to the USL where he had success. Then they brought him into Vancouver. I thought that was a model way. Tyler Adams as well in New York. So, one of the reasons we've opted not to bring in a lot of new players is because we actually have a lot of faith in our young players, and we think some of them are going to have breakouts. And so rather than going out like we've done in the past and getting a kind of an MLS experienced player, or someone that can plug in, like even an international, we're going to be looking to Jaden and Ralph and Noble and Julian and these guys to step in, because now is the time. We have a young guy in Jordan Peruzza who's very under the radar, who's another one we're really high on. And obviously, I'm not going to applaud Jaquil too much because he's still 16 years old, but that kid's ceiling is higher than any player I've been involved with. And I've, at RSL, we built, Brooks Lennon, Vito Avale, Sebastian Sosito, Justin Glad, Corey Baird. They all came from our academy in Arizona. So, I've seen young talent. This kid is as talented as a young player I've seen.
Love to hear it.
Yeah,
Love to hear it.
So you kind of answered my question already. So I guess I'll give you a choice here.
What question was that?
Well, my question is, some TFC fans are, for a lack of a better word, concerned that the club hasn't made any new signings this offseason. And what would your response to them be?
Yeah,
Do you want it?
You heard it. I mean, that's
Yeah, exactly.
We actually don't believe we had to make a lot of acquisitions. It was very important to us to renew contracts. Marky Delgado, Richie Laria, we locked up, and seeing this young talent emerging. When we talked about it, it was like, why would we bring someone else in who's going to limit the minutes of a Jaden Nelson or a Ralph Priso? And so we're encouraged by what we see around the league as well. You're seeing some young kids, perform, in Philadelphia and Dallas. And that gives us, encouragement, because we believe we have as good a young talent as anyone. Jaquil, I don't know if you guys know, the last season of the USSDA, we won the U15 national championship, and Jaquil was on that team, had 2 assists, and this is a group of players coming up we're really excited about. And so that was the reason, is that we had a lot of faith in the talent already on the roster. And we think we have a good blend of veterans, because no team has ever won with all young players. You need veterans, you need stars. But then when you have some emerging talent, you do have to find them minutes. And I think this year will be a year you do see some of these kids emerge.
Love it.
Love it. Let me follow it up quickly, because we are seeing a lot of comments about a certain Rafael Santos Borre on the chat. And I just wanted to ask you for a little inside scoop. It must be insanely difficult, but just how difficult is it to recruit players during this pandemic?
Oh, it's been brutal, to tell you the truth. We are very targeted in our designated player approach. Last year, I think Pablo Piatti served his purpose. He was an excellent player for us. He plugged a gap that we needed. He fit in very well with the team. But when we looked at what we really needed, is we needed a bit more goal production. And Pablo gave us so much, but he still had an opportunity to go play in Spain, and we wish him well. But we are very targeted in the type player we want, and we're not going to rush into a move. It's been difficult, though, because you can't. We in the past have brought players to see our training ground. We brought them to Toronto. They get an opportunity to see what we're all about. We visit them. We go. We meet them in person. We meet sometimes with the club, and you can't do that now where we are. And that's actually been the most difficult thing, is we haven't been able to see these players live. You learn a lot about someone when you break bread with them, and you get to know them a bit. You know their family, and that's been difficult. And so it has been. We've been leery to pull the trigger in certain cases, because we just don't have enough information. And we want to make sure, when you're going to spend millions of dollars, and in some cases tens of millions of dollars, that's a heavy decision. And we want to make sure it's right. The good thing right now is that our window is extended. We have time. We're able to see more action and more games. And then there's a secondary window not long after, whereas Nico Ladero came in the summer window, and good players have come into this league in that summer window. So we're not going to rush ourselves. We're going to make sure we make the right designated player signing. We do think it needs to be an attacking player that can really put us on the scoreboard. One of our communications guys had done an analysis, and since July 1st of 2019, we actually have the most points per game in the league. And
Sweet.
We feel really good about the roster. But what happened at the end of last season was, when you need that big goal, like we've seen in the past with Sebastian and Josie, against Nashville, we weren't able to get that goal. And that's why we need that player like a Raul Ruidiaz, a Josef Martinez, guys like that who who are difference makers. You know, we've seen Alejandro as a difference maker. You know, I'm really excited that the big guy is going to be back. He's healthy. He's motivated, because you know what he can do. Especially when we played, you know, Columbus and Philadelphia, having him on the field and what a difference he makes. So we're targeted, but it has been, I'm not lying, it's been extremely difficult not to be live and be able to get to know a player who you're going to bring into the team.
Right.
Yeah, just one last quick follow-up, because you know, we hear a lot about how the transfer market is a bit soft because of the pandemic, and you know, has that sort of been an opposing factor, like the temptation to kind of buy cheap because you may be able to get a player at a deep discount, or that doesn't even enter into your line of thinking?
You know, we've seen a little bit of a mix. You know, some clubs still want big money, and in some ways, I think they're overvaluing players. The market clearly is in flux.
Right.
You know, teams are struggling financially, both in Europe, both in South America. You know, here in MLS, it's been difficult. You know, and thank God for our ownership. You know, we will continue to invest in a designated player. But like anything, like when we went and got Alejandro, Pablo, you know, we don't want to waste money, and we want to make sure if we're going to spend money, it's well invested. And the thing we've talked about is, you know, Pablo fit perfectly for our need last year, but we're really looking to have a bit more of a long-term solution here that can help, you know, build this team over the next 3 or 4 years. It's not to say we wouldn't do another short-term deal if the right player presented himself, but our intention is to lock in a designated player that can help us win another championship over the, you know, next 2, 3, 4 years.
Another byproduct of this pandemic, of course, is the fact that I believe tomorrow you guys are headed down to Orlando and are going to set up base there. What went into that decision to choose Orlando, and what are some of the advantages, perhaps, of going there?
I think the weather, for one. You know, it's been a long winter. It's been cold. And we're very familiar with the facility we're going to be staying at, the Omni. There's soccer fields right on the complex there. We have, because we've committed so many rooms, we actually have there's a apartment style hotel area where it's private, where we're going to be staying. We have our own restaurant, but it's, you know, it's open. Florida is, you know, at one point Florida was amongst the worst states, and now it's amongst the best. And the economy is doing really well there, and so it's going to be a good change of pace for us. The weather will be welcome, and we get some really good training sessions in on a good field. Exploria Stadium is an excellent stadium, and we're actually going to be playing our CCL match at Osceola Heritage Park, which is where Orlando City B played, which is it's an old baseball stadium that is renovated into a soccer stadium. It's pretty cool little venue that'll be there for us. So we're excited to go down to Florida, and we're encouraged that it won't be as long of a trip as we had to do in Hartford, with how things are coming along.
Yeah, Bill, just as you're saying there, do you think it's more likely now? Could you say it's more likely now that we perhaps see Toronto FC return back to Canada, maybe sometimes this summer, than it was maybe a few months ago?
Yeah. I think, you know, what we're starting to see is that the health officials, the government officials are trying to find solutions, and they're understanding that the sports world is a big part of the community. And, you know, certainly health is always the top priority, but as the vaccine is getting rolled out, as we've learned so much about, you know, who this virus really infects, I think there's an appetite to find solutions for us, for the Blue Jays, you know, for the Argonauts, less so the Argonauts because they play within Canada. Us and the Blue Jays, the Raptors and the Leafs, all playing U.S.-based teams is really what a challenge has been in the past. But The vaccine has been tremendously successful rollout so far in the U.S. And we get tested every other day. We're on top of things, and so we're hoping that it'll be, in the summer and hopefully early summer where we can be back here playing games.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Bill, you're making us smile today.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to ask my contractually obligated question. 2015 to now, Bill. What? I just called you Bill and it felt weird. I think I'm going to call you Mr. Manning.
No, that makes me feel way too old. Bill.
All right, Bill, I'm getting goosebumps. But what is your all-time favorite TFC kit?
So TFC, in the early years, we actually we did that kit as a little bit of a nod to the Toronto Metro's Croatia. It was it was kind of red, white, and blue. It was white with blue, and a little red in the 2016-17 seasons.
The away kit? Yeah.
And, we had, when I got here, one of the first guys I met was a guy named Bob Arugi, who was, one of the top all-time Canadian players of all time. And he had played for that Toronto Metro's Croatia team, reminded us that they actually won the NASL trophy in 1976. And so there's, 6 or 7 of those guys still living here in Toronto and a big part of the community. And so we had an opportunity to kind of give them a little bit of a nod. And that jersey and that outfit is actually very similar to, that kit is very similar to what they wore in the 76 season. So that was a fun uniform design. From a home standpoint,
mm-hmm.
I really am excited about this year's kit. I think we, our design team, had some fun with it, I think, and sometimes it's a little dangerous when you go outside the box. And I think we creatively went outside the box this year. So I'm pretty excited about the new jersey.
Sweet. That's hilarious. Both you and Justin Moore, the only 2 people that I've asked, have both put that kit first. And we knew nothing about it. We saw the blue and immediately we were like, oh, Montreal Impact colors. What the hell? Now I'm scared to ask this one. What was your least favorite kit?
Oh, man.
Putting you on the spot here, Bill.
Yeah. So it's crazy. A lot of people probably didn't love the all red. But I like that. I think it's kind of we are the Reds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't love the jersey. I think it was 16 or 17 when we won the championship, but that jersey forever will live in my heart, right?
For sure.
The image of Victor Vasquez lifting up his jersey.
Incredible.
That jersey will always live in my heart. So I don't get too caught up in the jerseys. We have a design team that you'd be amazed. They get into like every little detail and
doesn't surprise me. I think I know that.
We have the eye test and as long as our guys are fine wearing it, and for the most part they'll take, as long as it feels good and it's light. So I'm not a hater really of any of the jerseys. The 17
very
jersey,
diplomatic.
Yeah, that one grew on me when we won.
That's a great PR answer, Bill.
Yeah. Damn.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bill. We really appreciate your time today.
Sure. No, thanks. That was
my
easy.
goodness.
It wasn't too bad, eh, Bill? We took it a little bit easy on you today. Perhaps next time we'll go a little bit harder.
Yes. Thank you so much for.
Don't believe all the rumors, and I do believe, when we do make this acquisition and when we do get started, seeing some of these young players emerge, people will get a bit more comfortable with the strategy here.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, Bill, and
right.
Safe travels to you and maybe even the family if you guys go down to Florida. And best of luck with everything moving forward.
Yeah.
Great.
Best of luck towards a great season.
All right, guys. Take care.
Cheers.
Thanks, Bill.
Awesome.